Rediscovering Gita for the Modern World by Shrikant Soman. Based on essays on Gita by Sri Aurobindo. Chapter 5. The Battleground of Life, continued from the previous episode. Episode 43. The Hidden Violence of Soul Force. The Moral Dilemma of War and Progress. The Inevitability of Destruction. Key Takeaways. Struggle as a Principle of Progress. The Impracticality of Absolute Harmlessness. Soul Force's Destructive Nature. The Inescapable Consequence of Moral Action. Beyond the Immediate Act. Main Passage. Morality of War. We should note here that war and destruction are not only universal principles of our life here in its purely material aspects. They are also the principles of our mental and moral existence. It is self-evident that in the actual life of intellectual, social, political and moral man, we cannot make any real progress without a struggle. There is always a battle between what already exists and lives on the one hand, and what seeks to exist and live on the other. There is also a battle between all that stands behind either of these two sides. As the men and things are in actuality, it is impossible to observe the two principles: to advance, to grow, to fulfill, and still to observe the principle of harmlessness. This principle of harmlessness is placed before us as the highest and best law of conduct. Soul force and destruction. Some people advocate that we will use only soul force and never destroy by war, or even will not adopt defensive employment of physical violence. Philosophically, this sounds good. The trouble is that until the soul force is effective, the Ashuric force in men and nations will trample down, break, slaughter, burn and pollute the world. We see it actually happening today. Moreover, with this philosophy of non-violence, the Ashuric force will operate at its ease and unhindered. This will cause as much destruction of life by our abstinence as caused by others resorting to violence. It is no solace to say that we have set up an ideal which may someday, and at any rate, ought to lead up to better things. Even soul force, when it is effective, destroys. Only those people who have effectively used the soul force with full awareness will know how much more terrible and destructive it is than the sword and the cannon. Only those who do not limit their view to the front end of the act and its immediate effects can see the ultimate reality. They will know how tremendous are its after effects, how much is eventually destroyed, and with that much, all the life that depended on it and fed upon it. Evil cannot perish without the destruction of much that lives by the evil. The fact that we are personally saved from the pain of the sensational act of violence does not reduce the severity of the destruction.